Marriage is one of the biggest commitments you'll ever make.
Entrepreneurship is one of the hardest journeys you'll ever take.
And when you choose to build a business and raise a family at the same time,
you face challenges most marriages never have to navigate.
We know because we've lived it.
We've experienced seasons of misalignment, financial pressure, and moments where growth tested our connection.
Not because we lacked love, but because building something meaningful together requires conversations most couples aren't prepared for.
Welcome to Entrepremarriage. I'm Micah.
And I'm Mahogany.
This podcast exists to help couples build wealth
without losing the marriage.
Let's talk about it.
Hey y'all, what is up?
All right, what is up, y'all? We are here for episode 2 of Entrepremarriage. You see me and Mahogany a little bit dressed up tonight. If you're watching the YouTube version, if you're just listening, then you probably don't see us. But that is a tip to go ahead and hop over to the YouTube version and push that subscribe button. Yeah, we're a little dressed up. We just got back from a gala Friday night. Can you tell us what the gala was, Mahogany? We were invited by a friend of yours.
Yeah, it was the PHP Casino Gala. It wasn't like your formal gala where everyone's sitting at tables and masquerade. Although some people did have hats and a couple people did have some masks on. Did you see some masks out there?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what we were at.
Yeah, well,
it was casino night.
Not many people had masks, so it was like
it
was like a whole vibe basically. But it was for PHP, people helping people, an insurance company that our friend works with and helps give education to the public about when it comes to insurance policies and things like that. So we went for the last day of their conference, which was basically a night of celebration. So they had free money for us to gamble with. It was so cool to like have free money to gamble, because I don't know about y'all, but I'm not a gambler. Like, when we go to Vegas and things, like, we might take out 100 or two to gamble with, but like, I don't like losing my money.
I don't really gamble either. I'll play blackjack for like the 100 or 200. But even the last time we went to Vegas, we didn't do that though. I usually do, but we didn't do it the last time.
We spent our money at the buffet.
Man, I hate to go off subject, but if you ever in Vegas, go to the Wynn buffet. Man, that's some top-notch food.
Yeah. Like when we went to Vegas last time, we went back twice during our visit in Vegas because it was just so fire. Everything was so fresh, unique. I could tell that like a chef curated every single thing I tried at the buffet.
Straight up.
And it was also entertaining.
Yeah.
Like while we were at the casino's restaurant, at the buffet, it was crazy. Like there's a table behind us.
Oh, yeah. It was like basically this lady was stealing food, right? But but it was wild because like we was sitting there eating, and behind me it was 2 Hispanic dudes, right? So I wasn't paying attention. I like turned and I said, "What's up?" to him. They was like, "What's up?" You know, just a quick greet because we sitting right by each other. So like I went to grab some food, and they was still there, and I was sitting down. I was on my back's to them, and I'm eating, and then Mahogany comes back. She's eating, and it's like 5 minutes later. I turn around.
I had on my headphones, so I didn't know what was going on. Like I was like watching a movie, and because I was mad at you. So
yeah, I think you were.
I had my headphones on, and we weren't talking. Whole nother story for another day. But I had my headphones on, and Micah looks at me and like is telling me like, "Look behind you." So
I turn around, and the 2 Hispanic dudes gone.
I turn around. You're looking ahead, right? Or no, they went behind you.
Yeah, I turned around
because they darted off behind you.
Yeah, they went to get food, right? But I thought they were gone. But anyways, it's a lady there, but she got all these face tattoos, right? And she's just sitting there eating food. So I'm like, oh, okay, they just seated somebody else.
Not just eating food, but she has her like elbows up, and she's like,
yeah, like prison style eating, like protecting the food type, you know. I ain't never been to prison or jail. This is stuff my uncles and cousins have told me. It's like prison style eating. But I ain't say nothing. I was just like, "Hey, how you doing?" She said, "Hey, how you doing?" Right, whatever. So I turned back around like 30 seconds later, like the owner of the restaurant, the little waiter or something. He's like telling her, "Excuse me, ma'am." Oh no, the Mexican dude walked back up, and the lady's sitting there eating, and I'm looking at. So I turn back around, and look at the Mexican dude. And he looking like, "Yo, who's this lady eating my food?" So I was like, oh, that's what's going on. So
And
he
she's
went
black. I think that's why he's saying they're Hispanic. It's because this lady's black. They're clearly not with them.
I'm just saying it was a lady she had face tattoo stuff
She
on.
wasn't. They weren't together, obviously.
Yeah, they weren't together. So he goes and gets the waiter, right? So the waiter comes back. He's like, ma'am, I forgot what she said. What'd she say? She was like,
Get out my face.
yeah, fuck on my face. I was like, yo, the whole restaurant turned around, right? So now we sitting close to this table, right? It's me and Mahogany and this black lady, right? And we the only 3 black people on this side. So I'm like, oh, damn, I hope they don't think she with us. She said, fuck on my feet. I turn around. You know me. If you know me, I love to have a good time. I busted up laughing. I was like, I start covering my mouth. And then she finally gets up and she cussing him out on the way out, bro. It was crazy. I was like, I had never seen nothing like that. I can't believe she's over there taking them folks' food. She was using their forks and everything. Like, she ain't give a damn, bro.
Yeah, I don't know how we got here.
But that was just a wild story. But Vegas Wynn Casino has some good food. But continue about the night. I'm sorry.
They do. Yeah, that was, you might get some of that here. That was way left field. But these first couple episodes, you're really just getting to know us as personalities before we get into the education, helping, right now we're just talking. But anyway, so I'm not much of a gambler. Yeah. So tonight was casino night. They had some play money for us to play with. The reason I'm not such a casino gambler
we can go into
is
that.
because, y'all, I'm traumatized.
It is true. You're traumatized.
When I was younger, my mother used to pull us up to Sherry's. Shout out to Sherry's. I'm so sorry y'all got shut down. Like, I'm so sorry for that. Like, I was a proud supporter. He was a proud supporter. When we go back home to Oregon, we hit Sherry's at least 5 times. So yeah, R.I.P. Sherry's. But anyway, when I was younger, we used to go to Sherry's, and used to be casinos in the back in Oregon. There's a lot of, not casino, but there's a lot of slot machines. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of slot machines in Oregon. So when you would go to Sherry's for breakfast food or whatever, there's slot machines in the back. So my mom used to just drop us off in the front at the breakfast at the table with some money, order us a plate, and go in the back for 6 hours.
No, but moms, because I know moms would do something like that. God. Mom's wild, man.
But R.I.P. Mom. But so that was my childhood. So, in my last gambling experience when I was 21, I went to the casino with my mom and my friend Bruce. Shout out to Bruce Honeycutt, a.k.a. Star. And so, yeah, my mom pretty much punched me in a casino because I was trying to, cash her out. I was trying to cash out her slot machine because I was ready to go. We've been there for 12 hours already. So I was trying to leave the casino. And so I'm cashing her out. And so she uppercuts me. And I punched my mom, long story short. So I don't gamble, bro. It's not my thing. But tonight they had free money. And even tonight I didn't gamble. Micah did though.
Yeah. It's free
gambling. We met super cool people. Yeah. It was a great experience. So yeah. That was the very, very long story to explain why we're dressed up tonight.
Yeah. By the way, if y'all ever, I think, the insurance thing is network marketing, right? Similar to it.
It is a version of
network marketing. It's a version of network marketing. I will tell y'all, if y'all ever go around network marketing people, they are the most upbeat, cool, laid back, down to earth people ever. We've been in Herbalife, and it gave me that vibe. I met young hustlers. This dude was 26. He had his head on straight. He was just talking he asked some really good questions. You could tell he read a lot. He was talking about some books, but he was like, hey, man, I'm trying to work on how I come off to people. How did I come off? And I was like, man, you come off as confident, and you know how to strike up a conversation. And then he asked me, what projects are you working on? What goals are you working on?
Asking that?
Yeah. And I asked him back, but I'm like, yeah, bro, you got your head on straight. You know how to hold a conversation at that level.
And his parents were also on stage.
Yeah.
His parents were on stage giving out awards, things like that. And I bring that up because I just love, and I think it's so important that as we grow in our lane of entrepreneurship, it's so important that we teach our kids and bring our kids along for the journey. I know that there's so many, people of color whose relatives and family members and moms and dads and things are entrepreneurs, However, they don't know anything. However, they weren't passed down any information or guidance or given a hand forward or anything like that. So I loved tonight to see like that young entrepreneur that you were speaking with, you know, have his parents on stage and like, you know, be able to see and be a part of that. Like, if y'all listen to my podcast, the Ladies Empowerment and Alignment Network, aka the Lean Podcast, I had Chrissy Harrison on there, and she hires her children within her business, and her husband, they hire their children within their business. And I really think it's important that as entrepreneurs, pass down information and also give our youth and our children opportunities to see it and to also participate in it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess a question would be, if y'all have young children at home, no matter the age, really start to think and write down ways that we can incorporate our children within the business. And it'd be even better if it's like something you see they're talented in, something that is their gift, something where you're like, hey, you know, I see this quality in my child when it comes to this, this, and this, and I'm going to implement them in that area. You know, our son is learning Spanish as he's growing, and like we're making intentional decisions to make sure he knows Spanish and he's learning Spanish. And same with our daughter, you know, and I think it's so important because as they're getting older, and as we're all getting older, like we need to know multiple languages. You're going to need to have more values and qualities about yourself that give you a foot up.
I agree. Especially when it comes to like teaching your children. That's the biggest thing. Because I'll say, since we talked, this ain't a trauma for me. I have other traumas. Like this ain't a trauma for me, but like my parents, they did stuff in front of us, but didn't teach us what they were doing. But then when you get older, like when you hit your 30s, like my parents my dad's 71 and then my mom's 67. Once you start getting, your parents are getting older and they become your dependents, you start seeing them as just regular people and you see their strengths and their weaknesses. So one thing they didn't do, like with real estate, for me, I was taught real estate at a young age. Like they showed it to me. They didn't teach it to me. Meaning I knew they had rental properties, but they didn't like
incorporate you.
Like do what they did. Like my dad would.
You were mowing out yards.
Yeah, like they would take us over there, mow yards. My dad would take us over there. We'd mow the lawn, but he wouldn't tell us what was going on. He just doing it. Yards. Yeah, he just mowing lawns. Like
here's some profit. We just made money because this is our property, our rental property, and every month you're a part of the business and you have a skill. Here's some business cards so you can start mowing lawns too in other areas, and like, you know, you can put me down as a resume, like on your resume as someone like I was your.
Yes.
So that's a whole nother.
Yes, my parents would like not on that path. They more like was just, you know, they gave us a really good upbringing, but yeah, just as far as like the entrepreneur side. But what it did was it gave me that, it sparked it, right? Something can spark like, oh, and then when you get older, you understand it. And then I'm kind of, what we're doing is 10Xing what they did. You know what I'm saying? We're 10Xing it because we know what they did, and then we can kind of 10X it, you know, not make the mistakes as they did. And we've scaled farther than them at our young age because of just that spark. Yeah.
And really, honestly, that's how it's supposed to be. It's like
facts.
We pretty much build ourselves upon the backs of our ancestors, as from our parents. Yeah. And every generation that goes on is pretty much like building on the backs of the next generation. Yeah. And I think it's so important to realize that and acknowledge that, because nowadays everyone's like, my generation's the best. My generation's number one. And really, honestly, all the generations are just building upon each other. And we have to take that time for gratitude, because when a lot of like the generations become cocky, like they're the smartest generation, or the best generation, the generation to bring the best gift to mankind, when really it's just like building upon the backs of each other. As it should be.
I think that's really what it is, because a lot of times people talk about generations, but they talking about like baby boomers, right? There's different types of baby boomers. My parents are baby boomers. However, my parents' parents, like my grandma had my mom when she was 16. My other grandma had my dad when she was 16. I think 14 to 16. Very young. So you might be dealing with a baby boomer who has a younger parent or an older parent. Also, when you talk about generation, you have to also look at, where is your generation coming from? Your generation, not just you're a millennial, right? Like with me and you. I'm a millennial, but my parents are old enough to be your parents' parents, right? So it puts everyone in different lanes of like what generational curses we may be breaking, right? Like me and you, our parents, well, your mom was raised up there, but our parents got out of the hood. Your dad got out of the hood, moved to the Northwest. My parents, my daddy got out the country. My mama got out the hood of Little Rock, moved us to the Northwest. So we seen something different, right? It's some people our age, they the people that's getting out of the hood. So your generation is different from my generation. I just have to 10x on where I'm at, right? A lot of people don't understand that. They'll be like, oh, well, this generation. It's like, nah, you got to build off where your family came from. That's why I tell people the word history. The first word in history is HIS, his, your history.
Who is he?
Yeah, his.
What about the hers?
Well, history, whatever it may be. But I'm saying that is the word you have to look at, because you have to know where you are and where your starting point is. Everybody's starting point different. And that goes into like the generational thing. But yeah, sorry, I went off on a tangent there. But that led me, remember back in Lester, I was talking about the Threads conversation. They were asking, hey, where's the best suburb to raise a black child in the DFW? And I personally said, my personal opinion, I said, I personally like raising my kids south of 20 because they can see black entrepreneurs and black people doing well for themselves. They can see that up north, but at a very lower rate, because that's why we wouldn't move to Frisco, all that. I love it up there. Like I tell you, me and my wife, we go take a vacation up there, get a little room at the Hyatt Regency, kick it up there for a weekend. Now, if I didn't have kids, I would live up there. But now, nah, I can't. I don't want my kids.
Subject them to that.
I don't want to subject them. Like even the little boy who stabbed somebody or whatever, the black kid.
Yeah, and he was like supposedly getting bullied.
Whatever it may be. Yeah. And then of course they're going to say he was one. But I ain't going to lie. I've been in situations where you the only black kid. Hey, odd man out. And you might have to defend yourself in other ways. But I'm not justifying what he did. But I will say I'm not putting my kid in that situation. My kid go to school with the other black kids who got parents at home. And so, that's just me and how I look at things. But that comes from our trauma, though. Everything we give our kids is from our trauma and the stuff that we seen. So we first thing we did when we got out of high school, shoes, I'm getting up out of here, going to where some people look like us and moving.
And that can also be an example of like our child building on the backs of us.
Facts. Because
he didn't have to go learn that, I don't want to say mistake because we didn't put ourselves into it, but
yeah,
he didn't have to be the one who's collateral damage and that's trying to figure it out, because we've already figured that part out. That in our opinions and what we've been through, it's not healthy to be the only black kid in the whole school. That was like more my situation, before I went to school with him.
Still was the only black kid.
I mean, there's at least a lunchroom where I could find at least 12 more.
Yeah.
Versus I'm the only one in the school until one other girl came, and that's only 2 black kids minus one mixed girl who only speaks, who speaks Spanish, and then a guy who, is mixed as well. But besides that, it was like that. Okay. And it did a lot of damage to me. Like, for me, growing up in a school, in a community where, there's no, like, people who look like you, like, I never got asked on dates. I never really I had a couple boyfriends, but they were probably, like, I don't know, one turned up gay later on, So, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying it wasn't the cream of the crop options.
I could tell.
So what?
Like that, I'm going to be real. One of the reasons why I waited till you got to Texas for it to like really make it, I needed you to get somewhere and know how to make decisions. I don't want to cuss. I'm sorry to say this.
Cussing it up.
Yeah. I wanted you to be able to make decisions in your life while knowing you have value. Yeah. Like when other black men see you, they're going to try to holler at you. I knew you had never had that up there. So I'm living in Little Rock, right? So I know how it is. But if you see yourself, okay, what decisions can you make? And you made all the right decisions having that, like, oh, dang, people think I'm pretty. People think I'm cute. A lot of people come down here, like, especially when we're from, I notice a lot of them move back because it's like intimidating. Or it's intimidating to the point of like, they've never seen black people with money. They'd be like, yo, that's intimidating. I have cousins who've moved to Texas. They'll move right back. They'd be like, man, hell no. They won't say it, but it's like, it's intimidating. Like, yo, like I remember one time I took my mom to Cedar Hill and she was like, this a black neighborhood? She's like, them black kids getting off the bus. I'm like, yeah. But like she used to the hood part of Little Rock and then moving to the Northwest. So it's like you have a certain way of seeing things that I don't see. Like I knew, like when I remember when I moved to Little Rock, the only reason I moved to Little Rock is because I couldn't get to Atlanta. But at the same time, I knew there were productive black people there. And then, you know, with my mom, it was just like, you know, like I had to get over that resentment, like being raised up there. And, you know, that's one of my traumas. But I don't knock them for it. I understand it. But yeah.
Yeah. And I understand it as well because to them and what they went through and how they've overcome, to be around them is like cream of the crop. Like your mom always says, like they have the new books. We have the used books. Like I was so excited when I got asked to come to the white school because they have new textbooks and stuff like that. So it's like to them, to my parents as well, it was like, well, not my mom. My mom grew up around them. Y'all, we love y'all.
Around them? You mean in Oregon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my mom was more like, you know, not so much worried about it. My dad, though, he was just like, you know, if you're around, you know, the white folks, it's more like progression. Like you're going to get the better things, the better opportunities, which it was true in a lot of ways, like the better programs and this compared to down south. But, you know, I don't even know what was really in their minds.
I don't think that's true, though.
I mean, that's just what was in their minds. That's what they thought. That's what the perception was.
Because I've always, even when me and your dad talk, I'm like, Houston's a big ass place.
He only focuses on
the third ward. I know. So you focus on the tray. You like, well, that's just what I'm like. Because the first time I went to Houston, I was like, I'm down there kicking. I'm like, man, the doctor's black, the lawyer's black, the police. I'm like, dang. I'm reading black people pulling up in Rolls Royces, bent like this shit down, this the stuff down here. Sorry. I'm like, dang, I love Houston. But that's what I seen. But I understand it. It's just like if you come from, like my mama come from Little Rock. There's other parts of Little Rock, like when you start branching out into Chenal, yeah, it's nice. But of course, you might, you know, you gonna feel the tension that going out that way. You know, shout out to Pam Brown Courtney. That's why she built her own community in the heart of Twin Lakes, John Barrow area. But yeah, you know, you just have to, like you said, with our kids, you know, you teaching them to build off your backs. And I hope we're doing it. I think we're doing a good job of that.
I mean, and if not, we have to be really careful to be like, you know, thankful to the backs that we were built upon.
Facts.
Because I'm going to slap the hell out of a kid if they come to my face and tell me how I messed up their life or how I made mistakes if they end up successful. Because you're successful because of me.
Facts.
You're successful because I laid the ground and you built upon it. And I'm glad you did, but don't throw it in my face. So that's how I feel about the new generation.
Always be willing to listen to your kids because things change, but we don't ever discredit what they go through because whatever they go through, you have to understand where their pain come from. And then when you understand where their pain come from, don't be soft on it, but just understand. Always look to understand, but always make them be respectful. But just understand what they're saying. Like, oh, okay, you went through that? Holla at me about it. Let me see what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely be willing to listen.
Yeah.
Because we all have our own perspectives and our own backgrounds. Like you were saying just a bit ago about how, depending on how your upbringing was, where you were, your childhood, your in-the-home circumstances, your parents' ages, and how developed they were, all that matters. And all that makes a big difference. But that's why we love Entrepremarriage, honestly, is because these are things that we as a community need to. Here's my experience. Here's my experience. Here's what I learned. Here's what I brought from my experiences. And like really just help fill in the gaps for each other for where maybe we lacked or maybe we missed out on information or misinterpreted information or just, you know, completely didn't have it. So
that's a fact. And I think that's one good thing we're building off of down here is we're able to 10x what our parents are doing and hopefully pass that on to our children, you know. We definitely, especially like the real estate side, we always include Malachi. You know, Mackenzie's young, but we always include Malachi on like what we're doing, how we're doing it, and just kind of, you know, teaching him, you know, what we're doing and just like even with we teach him finances and stuff and just keep him up with it because I think that's the strongest thing, the biggest thing we can do is teach our kids the stuff that we never knew. Yeah. You know, not give them the things we never had, teach them the things that we never knew and kind of give them a foot up, like you said.
Yeah, because even if they're just little nuggets that were installing into our children. Like, for an example, on Saturdays, we'll go driving for dollars, and our kids will sit in the back seat for hours at a time as we're collecting addresses that we're going to later on cold call or, send letters to. Mm-hmm. And they know, hey, we're driving for dollars. Even though that might seem like a small act and they're really not involved, they actually are, because as they grow, I'm sure they're going to look back and be like, I know what it's like to, go find the fish, not wait for something to come to me. Like, mm-hmm. I know to go out and find it. Like, so there's things like that will really make a lasting impact on our children. Things like that.
Yeah, it was. That is. And I'm happy we're doing that. You know what? Sorry, I'm not going to change the subject. I'm just going to go back to what you said earlier. Our last episode, we talked about how we met. Your mom was actually another piece to how we continued our relationship, remember? Mm-mm. So I worked at Safeway in high school. Okay. And then one night, Mahogany came in. I was in college. I was getting ready to leave out because I was finishing up my last semester so I could move to Arkansas. And Mahogany came in with her mom, and I worked the late night shift. I worked the overnight shift. I was stock, and then go home in the morning. And she came in, and I saw her. I ain't think nothing of it. And then she was with her mom, and he was with Ebony.
Some of it.
Yeah, I mean,
he said there she is.
Yeah, I was like, oh, there go Mahogany. But I ain't say nothing, And then I get called up because I'm the youngest dude, so I always had to be if they asked somebody to push the cart out for them. And I'm like, they only got a few items, so they called me to the front. Hey, Micah, we need you to push a cart out for somebody. I worked at Safeway. And Safeway, they big on the service. And I remember her mom was like, that's my daughter. And I was like, yeah, we know each other. Mahogany was embarrassed. She was sitting there like, oh, man, Mom's was cool, man. Rest in peace, Mom. She was cool. She was like one of the people that, she's like, yeah, that's my daughter. I'm like, yeah, we went to school together. She was real cool.
Yeah, she was like, what do you think, Mahogany? I'm like, no.
Moms was up there trying to play matchmaker. She was cool people, though.
She must have knew something we didn't know.
Yeah. She knew. She was like, Mahogany, you messing up. But I was like, nah, not right now. She got to go down south and get it together. No, okay. I'm playing.
No, but for real. But overall, y'all, we've really enjoyed this episode with you guys. It's been fun, just bantering, talking a little bit of real stuff, talking with my honey here.
Yeah.
Flashbacking.
Yeah, we were going to talk about knowing your strengths and weaknesses in marriage and in entrepreneurship, and how that once you really hone in on that as a couple, you will 10x everything. But we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about that next episode. So y'all be ready for episode 3. We're going to talk about strengths and weaknesses.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening. Please share this episode with your friends, your family, your loved ones, whether you're married or not. We hope the Entrepremarriage helps you on your journey to wealth and generational success.
We are out.
If this conversation resonated with you and you want to go deeper,
join us inside the Entrepremarriage Inner Circle on Patreon. You'll find the link in the show notes. And while you're here,
make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future episodes.
You can also join our Entrepremarriage Facebook community. The link is in the description to keep the conversation going between episodes.
Thanks for watching.
Until next time,
keep building wealth
without losing the marriage.